Yes, he is up with me, live in studio.
Yeah, bright and early.
Curtis Jackson, good morning.
Everything's good, man. I feel good.
You look good.
Yeah, I've been traveling, moving around, doing promotions for my book, Formula 50 is out.
Yeah, well, first of all, I've been trying to get you in here for the longest time. It's been like about a good 3 years.
It's been 3 years since I launched the last album.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been tucked away because, I reached the 5th and final recording requirement for my actual contract with Interscope, so it was like time to go through the auditing process.
Right.
And after doing that, it was interesting because we found some things, and then we had to wait until they found some money to make it, right. And then we back in action, so everybody's ready to work, and we get it going at the end of the year. I launched My Life, me, and Adam Levine.
We've been playing.
Yeah, and it felt good. The response that I got to it made me feel like I was, I had my finger on the pulse of what's going on.
Well, we're going to talk about the music. Right now, I want to first get into this book because it had me up all night. I don't know if I have bags under my eyes, trying to, read enough of the book, but I couldn't put it down.
It's good, right?
I really didn't expect this at all. And it's not just a regular workout book, folks. I'll let you tell the people what makes Formula 50 different.
Well, I wanted to also have the book represent my definition of strength.
Okay.
In different ways. So it's some of the things that I implement that I think is a part of the actual willpower or the psychology that makes you able to make those transitions and differences in yourself. And then away from that, I use information from, I had a physical trainer and nutritionist travel with me for years, for like almost 4 years.
Right.
Because after I came back from my first tour, Get Rich or Die Trying, I performed 320 shows that year.
Wow.
I traveled, I went everywhere.
The lifestyle is very strenuous.
Yeah, I didn't stop at all. And because I was in so many different territories and in different countries and different places, I wasn't comfortable with their food standards. It's not the same as America, a lot of those places.
Right.
And what was consistent was the fast food.
Okay.
Like the chains were there and they still had that food.
McDonald's is everywhere.
Yes.
Overseas.
That you could be comfortable with that part. So you like, let me stick to what I know.
Right. But the thing is, for me, I wasn't even fascinated by that, the whole nutrition aspect.
Yeah.
I tried to eat right. I tried to, go to the gym, try and be consistent with it. But I'm more so fascinated at how this is more than just a workout book. You really want to transform people's lives. This is more about you teaching people how to be disciplined enough, have that mental toughness that you speak about.
Right. Like a lot of times people think that when you say, because it does focus, there's a point where we get into the actual physical regimen itself and the actual eating habits, the adjustments necessary to make the physical transition. And the timing was perfect on the launch of the book because of all of the New Year's resolutions. Right. And people say, I'm gonna lose this much. I'm gonna lose this much weight. I'm gonna lose 10 pounds for New Year's, and those adjustments should be like, I'm gonna change my lifestyle a little bit. Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing about you is, I think the biggest misperception about 50 Cent is that you live this crazy lifestyle. Like you're in here today. What, you went to bed at 8 o'clock last night like an old grandpa?
To get up and be ready,
Yeah, you don't drink, you don't smoke, you don't live this crazy lifestyle that most people think all rappers live. Let's play some music, come back, talk a little bit about that. Of course, you name drop a champion in the book.
Yeah.
Okay. We will discuss Floyd Mayweather and his influence.
Yeah, see, it wasn't even a name dropping situation. We'll be right back. I'll explain it to you.
Yeah, we are in good company today. 50 Cent is here.
Yeah.
I'm Renata Romaine. I see you over there getting it.
But now, before we went out, you said I was name dropping. I wasn't name dropping.
Look at you.
We got to get back. These people be confused.
Why'd you let me get under your skin with that?
You leave these people in the wrong set of mind. They driving. They in the car early for work. And they say, oh, he name dropping. Who he name dropping?
Let me say this. You speak of Floyd Mayweather.
No.
In the book, in a positive light, okay? It seems as though he had a positive influence on you.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at the physical discipline involved with you being a top fighter, it's it's a real tough job.
Right.
Real tough job. The process of training himself to get prepared for the actual fight was unbelievable. That's probably the most cardio I've seen a person do. Like, maybe 4 or 5 hours of cardio.
Yeah.
Today, you realize that? Like, when you go to the gym and you're there for 30 minutes or 40 minutes in the cardio area before you go lift weights or do different things in the actual gym, he's performing 4.5 hours of cardio.
So you were really like taken aback by that.
Yeah, like, cause it's unbelievable.
I watched the 24/7s.
Yeah.
And at first I thought it was odd that 50 Cent was hanging out with Floyd Mayweather, but the more that I watched you two, the more you two seemed to be so alike. So what actually happened?
And some lights, there's some similarities there because Floyd is, we're extremely different on some areas, and then we have some things in common. Like, we're both in a place that you get a chance to be in, and both in a good financial space.
Right.
We're both there, and it's.
Let me tell you what I think is similar. You have this guy who is the arch nemesis of boxing.
Yep.
Okay? But he strategically became the arch nemesis of boxing, that people don't even realize that.
Yeah.
Okay? You gotta give him some credit. He's not, you know.
The arch nemesis of boxing is easy. Once you've disciplined yourself like that, Floyd's the opposite of Muhammad Ali. You see what I'm saying? Ali was the people's champ. Mm-hmm. He was socially conscious. Mm-hmm. So in a recession, he would be telling you things that people can identify with, and offering possible solutions. Right. At that point, and the messaging points that we were offering at that point that we was hanging out was a part of the Money Mayweather show, which is the money's endless. Mm-hmm. And if you
hell, I wanted to be down with the money team.
Yeah, like if you're gonna do that, then it's like, okay, cool, and then he'll tell you why we were actually doing it. Right. I say, yo, this is the wrong messaging for us. So
you really you were the conscious
side of it. It's like he would be like, when I say he's like my brother, I'm like my younger brother.
So you two really it was a real friendship?
Yeah.
And was it a real falling out? Or was it like some publicity type of thing?
You don't necessarily have to do business with your family.
So why did you go to Twitter? Because it got a little ugly in a little bit, and I know you love Twitter.
What you do is, if you say something, you're saying, why did you have an argument with your sister or your brother? So like,
why you can have an argument with your sister or brother, but when you go to a public forum such as Twitter and publicly,
okay, how do you,
somebody
outside of your basic, degrade who? You talking about 50 Cent and Floyd Mayweather?
Yeah.
How can you degrade us?
Well, no.
In any statement, you can quote any statement that was said between us, and he'll tell you, I'm still who I am. I made everything the way I got here on my own, and I tell you the same thing.
Well, people on the outside looking in, we don't get it.
They can misinterpret, but
you
it's
understand,
not,
and that's the point.
That's not really a part of the 50 Cent show or the Floyd Mayweather show.
Okay.
That was something that finally happened because of the time that I had off.
Okay.
Because Floyd was in Mixed Show Power Summit in 2002 to see 50 Cent. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, he would show up places, they don't realize how long we've been
rocking
cool
and rolling. Right.
Yeah.
This wasn't just something new.
And then there's something new to them because they actually saw us together. Right. And then it was like, oh, yo, like, when did that happen? When it was years ahead of that we would be in communication. It's just, he'd have a fight at a time that I'm touring overseas. Okay. Or I'm doing something else. Like, my life is pulling me one place while his is taking him another.
So you guys are good. You're just not doing business with each other. Okay.
The decision, when you saw what you saw on Twitter, is a reflection of him deciding
not just the Twitter, but
go into business.
Teaming up with Manny Pacquiao. That just seemed,
you misinterpreting
that seemed like
saying.
A low blow, fam.
I'll say this to you so you understand it, but I'll never offer this again in conversation or communication, so pay attention for the people listening. Right?
Okay.
Okay,
let me drop the music.
Yeah, my communications with Manny Pacquiao and his team was for Floyd Mayweather. Do you understand? The company itself was initially being created to be a bargaining chip that they can actually split and look at it like it was a retirement plan. When you have a fighter that doesn't make money off of anything but fighting, and in that cycle of fight, get the money, spend the money, fight, you know it's a comfortable flight, but the plane has no wheels. When it does land, it will crash land. So if I'm sitting there and I'm trying to create that thing that's in between them that allows them to be around what they're passionate about, and that's the sport of boxing, they've put everything into it. When I build it and you decide you don't want to do it, when there is no income away from anything else but boxing, and you know you can't fight forever, and you saying, I got 2 or 3 more left in me. You see what I'm saying? And it's saying, and you see the actual fighter not fighting the toughest opponents,
right?
And kind of navigating, like fighting, let me fight who I think I can win, who I can beat. Well, no problem. When you see those decisions being made, then you go, okay, hold up. Let me start thinking your exit strategy, like how you actually end the situation, or how, you know, what happens after. If that doesn't pop up, then you don't have any logic with the way you actually view your life.
It's the business mind.
Right. Like you just say to yourself, what do you do next? If you already, anybody would say, what are you going to do next? And then say, well, what do you know? Like, what are you experienced about it? What are you interested in?
Let's get into this joint. Come back. I'm Renata Romaine. Straight hip hop hits, period. We're having breakfast today with 50 Cent.
Yeah.
Curtis Jackson. Now, they call you the Machine, right?
Yeah.
That's your nickname. I'm going to call you the Mind, the mastermind, because, you know, you always have some, you know, deeper meaning to your moves. Everything is so strategic. When we left off, we were talking about boxing and Floyd Mayweather and everything. Congratulations on becoming a licensed promoter.
Right.
That's a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Were you always a fan of the sport of boxing?
Yeah, since I was like 12, I was excited about boxing, but I enjoyed it from just a fan's perspective until, you know, the relationships with the top fighters pull you a little closer to the actual sport, and then you start to be involved a little more.
Have guys like Oscar De La Hoya and Bob Arum welcomed you with open arms?
Bob Arum, yes. Yeah, you know, De La Hoya was a little...
De La Hoya's like, we don't want you in my world. This is mine.
No, he just was like, you don't know how tough it is to work, because it looks a lot easier than it actually is.
Yeah, because he's probably looking at you like, okay, look at this rapper trying to come into the sport. And
well, he doesn't actually. I mean, Richard Schaefer run Golden Boy.
Oh. Well, you know, I look at it as the same thing. Like when you first started acting, you had some actors, veteran actors, they really didn't welcome you with open arms. So it's something you have to prove yourself.
And I ended up working with the same people.
There you go.
You know, so.
Yuri Gamboa, the fighter that you've been putting out there, showcasing behind. Do you think that he can stand his own in a ring with someone like Adrian Broner?
What makes you think Adrian Broner is someone that you would say stand your own? With Yuri Gamboa, I mean, 2-time Olympic gold medalist, 475 amateur fights. He ain't gonna put nothing in front of him he ain't seen already at this point. You know what I mean? So it's just where he's at as far as his conditioning and the actual having the ring dust off him. He ain't fighting over a year, the last fight. When he won the interim title on Manny Pacquiao Marquez undercard. So
were you at that fight with Pacquiao when he went to sleep a little bit?
Gamboa fought right in front of him. That's the most exciting fight.
It was exciting.
Year. It's the most exciting fight of the year boxing. And when you think about it, for some reason this little smirk or this little burst of joy came out of you when you mentioned that he went to sleep.
Well, maybe okay.
No, but what it is, that's representation of the cycle of entertainment.
Let me cut you off for a minute, real quick, because I saw your tweet. Okay, when he lost that fight, and you said something like, "Oh, it's a shame how people love to see a champion lose." No, people love to see a winner lose. If a person wins consistently and builds this thing in front of you that says that they're actually a winner for winning consistently, you like to see them lose because they go, "Oh, finally, what? Like this is a big deal," because you always win when they see you take a loss. Like for me, understand you shouldn't be conscious of how many times I'm down. Right. You should watch how many times I get up. Right.
because I won't stay down regardless under any circumstance. It's just not who I am. I come from the bottom, like, you know. So to make it to where I'm at, I can't even assess not being able to win. So now, when you see the caliber talent that you looking at with Marquez and Manny in there, they all have a puncher's chance.
I don't think there's a point for Pacquiao and Mayweather to fight now after Pacquiao's last
That's blown.
fight.
That's $100 million down the drain.
But if it did happen, right? Speaking from your expertise as a boxing promoter, 50 Cent, do you think Manny Pacquiao could beat him?
Like, on that level, I don't believe. I'd say they all have a puncher's chance on that level. That the greater talent. The same way you would look, do I personally believe they got a puncher's chance?
I knew you would say that. All right, listen, we got to get into the music.
Same. You didn't believe Did you believe Marquez could beat Manny?
I really did.
After watching 3 fights of him getting his ass whooped?
I really did.
He
because
lost every single fight every time they met.
He did not. Are you kidding me? He did not lose every single fight.
Marquez lost every time.
All right. You know what? We can agree to disagree.
So Marquez, you felt like Marquez beat Manny before this?
Eminem is about to come in.
Yeah, I figured.
We can agree to disagree. When we come back, though, you do have an album you're working on. We got to get to the music, because that's your first love. I'm Renata Romaine.
Here we go.
It's Curtis Jackson. We're having breakfast.
Stop.
Okay.
It goes on and on. And on.
We're getting it live right now.
It goes on and on.
Yes.
And on.
It's that ear candy.
Hey.
Hip Hop Nation, my own little serenade this morning. I'm Renata Romaine. It's 50 Cent hanging out with us. Now, on that record, My Life, it's doing pretty well, I must say. A lot of people are requesting it and talking about it.
It's a good joint, man. I wrote Confusion on that record. I wrote some of the things that I experienced that I didn't understand on it.
Would people forgetting about what you have done for hip hop be one of those things, because you actually allude to it?
I allude to it, but it's just that when you, let's just say this, like if you get to a point where there's a question mark around you being able to create good music, it's odd when you've been doing it for so long. Again, it feels like I feel like I've been making good music since '97.
Okay.
You know, so when I finally, I don't get here to 2003, but when I do, I'm the largest debut in hip hop album because I'm seasoned, I'm ready.
Right.
So you're hearing it for the first time, but I've been working on it for so long before you actually paid attention to it that it impacted that hard.
Right.
So I mean, that was part of it. And when you have a lot of artists out there that are making great material right now that isn't actually being embraced by publicly, or isn't registering to people right now, and they just got to know to keep working hard at it, because eventually when you have your moment, all that hard work pays off.
Well, I appreciate your thought process.
Right.
But I'm sorry, I spent like a good hour one day not too long ago actually reminding people what you have done.
Yeah, a lot.
Like literally, I had to go back to the Get Rich or Die Trying. I had to go back to the Massacre, because it seemed as though people kind of backed away from you. Or Major Distribution, your newest record with Jeezy and Snoop.
Right.
First time collaborating. You say something like, niggas say I fell off or whatever.
Yeah,
like, do you really think people think that you fell off?
No, I'm doing. We're in a time where the blind lead the blind. Like, see, they look at a negative statement from a blogger, and they begin to follow each other. You see what I'm saying? And because you'll never be the same tomorrow as you are today. Mm-hmm. If you are, you're falling behind. If you're not growing, if you're not acquiring new information, if you're not wiser than you were, then you just.
So you don't really think that people think that you fell off?
Right. I use the things that I hear people say. I use the things that tones to create an energy. Like, it's obvious that the confidence level going into the record,
right,
was right. I know a hit when I hear one.
So you don't feel like you have anything to prove with Street King Immortal?
Well, what I do have to capture an energy that mirrors what I did in the very beginning. That's my goal, personally.
Tough.
I don't care about... Back then, I talk about numbers because my numbers were so significant. You wouldn't be able to see. Like, I got 2 diamond albums.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? You got artists that are on the radio all day that don't have a platinum plat.
So you're just proving something to yourself.
Right.
Okay. When are we getting it? I just recently read that you pushed it back.
Spring.
Oh yeah.
I didn't push it back.
Well, you having label issues.
Yeah. Well, but it's more of a. It's not like the issues I had with the label in the past, where I was angry about it at different points. It's more one of those where I have an understanding of what's going on because we're in process of actually launching the project, so I'm around the label a little more.
Okay.
And then you see the decrease in staff because they have to make changes.
Right.
So they let like 35 people go before Christmas. So,
wow. Yeah.
You know, coming in the top of the year, they got to get situated.
Now, when I read reports of possible contention between you and your G-Unit family, wasn't happy about that.
Contention?
Well, I said possible. I don't know. You know what's going on. That's why I'm about to ask you. You know what is happening? What's the situation with G-Unit? Are you guys on good terms? And you know everyone, would like to see a reunion. Will that happen?
Probably not.
Oh.
I don't know. You got people that grow in different directions. When they like.
Well, thank you for your honesty.
If you have grown men involved in business transactions or around each other, surrounded by the same thing, I've offered everything that I can offer to G-Unit. I allowed them to be in front of my audience the entire time, to develop their own fan base and have people recognize, their attributes and their defects at that point. So what do you do? Like, I don't care what other people want. Give a fuck if they want a reunion. You kiss my motherfucking ass. Like, as far as that's concerned, like, I think when we get to the point that you want something, the public is saying something. It's a trend. It's an idea that one person had that other people are following.
Right.
And when did it dissolve? It dissolved as they didn't actually support the project.
Well, 50, I can sit here and talk to you all day.
Yeah, like how does it
and pick your brain, but your people are mean mugging me right now.
You know where the whole concept
through the glass studio. I know you have.
I think the concept of reunions come from artists that have decided to not be under me, to realize how hard it is away from me. When you get to the point that you're not generating any interest anymore, and your records are coming and going so fast, and you don't matter as much.
Right.
You go, we need to do a reunion.
Either a reunion or a best of album.
Why? Because it makes you feel like it needs to feel like it felt when we was all together again. It's uncomfortable for them, but I'm not uncomfortable. So.
Yeah. Formula 50, a 6-week workout and nutrition plan that will transform your life. Pick it up, folks. I am starting it, and I encourage you to do the same thing. Thank you for coming for breakfast. What's up, Bob Nation? Sirius XM 44.